Our 11 Investigates team is digging into claims of sexual misconduct at Toledo's prison. The state says it has a solution, but is it working? Lead investigator Brian Duggar has a story that you will see only on WTOL 11.
Today, I'm here to talk to you about a topic that's a bit uncomfortable to talk about, but that's part of the problem.
More than 2 years ago, Ohio Department of Corrections Director Annette Chambers-Smith told employees that there would be zero tolerance for Rule 14 violation.
At the end of the day, I just want everyone to know that I have a zero tolerance for this, and I don't expect our people to put up with victimization, and that we are continuing to try to work to do something about it.
But 11 Investigates has learned the problem has never been worse. During a November protest, union officials told 11 Investigates that Toledo correctional officers, mostly females, are repeatedly exposed to sexual behavior from inmates.
I mean, just picture yourself having to look at a penis all day, every day, and watch someone masturbate. You tell them to stop, they continue for minutes, and then finish, and then they do it again later that day. And it's just kind of an all-day assault on your emotions.
Kira Payoff is representing 2 female corrections officers who are suing Toledo Correctional, the Ohio Department of Corrections, and numerous individuals, including Chambers-Smith, for failing to protect officers from sexual harassment. So since September 30th, 2019, which is more than 2 years ago now, can you tell me what has changed?
My clients haven't seen any change.
11 Investigates obtained several records from the state, including a listing of violations by year. In 2019, there were 2,225 Rule 14 violations at state prison. In 2020, there were 2,809. And in 2021, 3,469.
What I'm gonna do, I'm about to
Toledo Correctional houses maximum security prisoners and some of the worst Rule 14 offenders. There were 186 violations in 2019, 163 in 2020, and 609 in 2021. And 3 individuals in Toledo had at least 100 violations apiece during the 3-year period. The state did not grant us a request for a private interview with the director, but in an email, spokesman Joellen Smith said the increase in violations is the result of Chambers-Smith encouraging officers to speak out.
You gotta get out before they put you out.
But Payoff says her clients do not feel that support from the state or from Toledo Correctional.
The male superiors don't give them the support that they need, and their only outlet, my clients, is to file conduct and incident reports, and they're not taken seriously. They're kind of fluffed off and laughed off sometimes.
11 Investigates reviewed 58 incident reports between October 1st and December 17th, and those reports supported much of the behavior Mayoff's clients described. Ohio Representative Paula Hicks Hudson says penalties need to be enforced on a local level.
You don't need to increase the punishment, you need to enforce the law. And by enforcing the law, that would serve as another infraction for that person who is already within the penal system.
Union members and Payoff say so far few serious repercussions have ever been seen against offenders. After 11 Investigates asked questions about that, Hicks Hudson scheduled a meeting with Toledo's law department. But another strategy by Chambers-Smith is being contested in court.
Another thing that we did was Senate Bill 201, which you may have heard of as the TOKS legislation, does give us the ability to add time to offenders sentenced under that law for certain types of violations. I can let you know that I made sure that Rule 14 was one of those violations.
I'm gonna kick that window.
Legislation allows certain violent offenders to receive a minimum and maximum sentence. The ODRC alone can then extend a prisoner's sentence based on violation, including Rule 14. while imprisoned.
You have prison officials who nobody voted for, who weren't elected, who aren't necessarily attorneys or have any legal background whatsoever, are making these choices to keep people incarcerated behind bars without any judicial review.
Perrysburg attorney Andy Miley is fighting the law before the Ohio Supreme Court in a case involving local man Edward Maddox. The decision is expected any day. He agrees with Hicks Hudson that there's a clear route for punishing Rule 14 violations.
The prison officials should not, they're the last people in the world that should be deciding how long an inmate should remain in prison.
We can now give you an important update to this story. After talking with us, Paula Hicks Hudson met on Tuesday with the Toledo Law Department and prison officials. Now, the city's now committed to prosecuting these violations. And remember, not a single one of the more than 850 violations was prosecuted last year. However, the city says the prison must bring these cases to them for prosecution. We're going to be keeping an eye on that. Now, we reached out to Toledo Correctional for an interview for this story, but that was not granted. Reporting in studio, this is Brian Duggar for WTUL 11.